Welcome to NTAC, the collaborative session. Today's session will focus on teaching self-determination to students with disabilities and includes information on what self-determination is, why it should be taught to students, and how to teach it. Today, these are the topics we will cover and information you should gain knowledge about before our time together is over. Self-determination can be defined as a combination of skills, knowledge, and beliefs that enable a person to engage in goal-directed, self-regulated, autonomous behavior. Goal-directed, meaning knowing why we are doing something and working to achieve an end result. Self-regulated, meaning being in control of our own actions. And autonomous behavior, meaning making informed, uncoerced behaviors. An understanding of one's strengths and limitations together with a belief in oneself as capable and effective are essential to self-determination. When acting on the basis of these skills and attitudes, individuals have greater ability to take control of their lives and assume the role of successful adults in our society. An example of this can be made within the area of employment. Students need to understand what kind of job they would like to pursue based on knowledge of their own self, such as their interests, limitations, and strengths, and also be able to understand why working on pre-vocational or other jobs related to their job of choice is important. Self-determination definition has evolved. A dispositional characteristic manifested as acting as the causal agent in one's life. Self-determined people act in service to freely chosen goals. Self-determined actions functions to enable a person to the causal agent in his or her life. Self-determination includes choice-making, decision-making, goal-setting and attainment, and problem-solving. These are only some of the subcomponents of self-determination. A lot of these components may already be a target or embedded within the instruction and teacher's classroom already. However, these components make self-determination measurable, and if a student is lacking skills in one or more specific areas, a goal can be written to help improve those skills. An example of choice making would be choosing the order in which to complete classroom activities or choosing what task to perform. An example of decision making would be planning out how to complete a book report, thinking first I will do this, then I will do that. An example of goal setting and attainment would be setting a goal on how many minutes someone will be working before they take a break. An example of problem solving could be as simple as missing materials for a job test, such as no soap or rag when cleaning a table. And teaching students how to problem solve, such as where to find the soap and rag. This slide provides more components of self-determination. Starting with self-awareness, an example would be picking text based on ability level. An example of self-efficacy would be completing an assignment or job test, and if a student chooses not to complete it, do they understand the implications? An example of self-advocacy would be requesting assistance when completing an activity in class, or applying the knowledge of rights with regards to accommodations and asking for more time or a separate setting for testing. Self-regulation can be when students devise a self-monitoring plan for a goal of how many pages they want to read, and they record that number that they read in one sitting and evaluate if they got close to their goal and what they need to do to adjust their goal. Self-determination and self-advocacy are sometimes used interchangeably, but most models consider self-advocacy a component of self-determination. This figure shows how self-advocacy involves many other components such as self-awareness, knowledge of rights, communication, and leadership. Under each of these headings are examples of ways to monitor or observe students demonstrating these skills. For example, under communication, you can observe or teach specific components to students about their body language, listening skills, and assertiveness in relation to the broader topic of self-advocacy. So why the emphasis on self-determination? Research has indicated that individuals who have higher levels of self-determination have better employment outcomes, including higher wages. Research also indicates that individuals who had higher levels of self-determination had a better quality of life, including independence, productivity, community integration, and satisfaction. Students with higher levels of self-determination achieve better post-school outcomes in the areas of both education and employment. And research suggests a need for more interventions in educating students with disabilities about the IEP process and their participation in these meetings. Self-determined students are more likely to actively participate in the school-related activities and have greater academic achievement and goal attainment. So now you have the whys and the whats. So the question is how? How can we teach self-determination to students? Self-determination has been identified as a predictor of post-school success in employment, referencing back to Test et al. In 2009. Self-determination theory suggests that individual belief is inherently proactive and motivated, but for an individual to experience life proactively, environmental supports may be required for the individual to make personal and social achievements in natural environments. Since the development of the self-determination theory, incorporating self-determination into instruction for students with disabilities has been identified as a critical element of instruction in order for students to obtain a high quality of life. For almost 2 decades, promoting self-determination of students with disabilities has been an emphasis throughout the field of special education. Self-determination includes 12 component skills that are necessary for individuals to learn and acquire to become self-determined, including choice-making, decision-making, problem-solving, goal-setting and attainment, independence, risk and safety, self-regulation and self-management, self-instruction, self-advocacy and leadership, internal locus of control, positive attributions of efficacy and outcome expectancy, self-awareness, and self-knowledge. In a recent Delphi study by Rowe et al., self-determination has been defined as the ability to make choices, solve problems, set goals, evaluate options, take initiative to reach one's goals, and accept consequences of one's actions. Some transition services and predictors are listed below. Utilize a student-driven IEP process to allow students to demonstrate self-awareness, goal setting, problem solving, and self-advocacy. Collaborate with general education teachers to embed choices in the general curriculum and daily lesson and provide opportunities for students to practice self-determination skills. Ensure all students, including those with significant disabilities, have a functional communication system to engage in choice-making, problem solving, goal setting, taking initiatives to reach goals, and accepting consequences for one's actions. As you work with students, take into consideration the cultural nuances involved in teaching self-determination skills and providing opportunities to develop self-determination to students from culturally or linguistically diverse backgrounds. The next few slides will cover classroom and student-level self-determination strategies. Before you teach, you have to assess. Self-determination assessments provide information as to one's readiness to make decisions related to their post-secondary ambitions. Such assessments provide data to help a student identify their relative strengths and limitations related to self-determination and factors that may be promoting or inhibiting this outcome. The next few slides will include information on 5 commonly used assessments. The self-determination inventory can be used with all school-age students with and without disabilities, but has been validated with students ages 13 to 22. This assessment asks students questions about how they feel about their ability to be self-determined, such as making choices, setting and going after goals, and making decisions. Multiple data collection options are available. The SDI-SR is an online assessment and includes rating scales for teachers, parents, and students. The initial assessment is free, and there are minimal costs for schools and districts. The SDI is available from the Kansas University Center on Developmental Disabilities. The website is linked on the slide. The ARC self-determination scale can be used with middle and secondary students with mild to moderate disabilities. The ARC measures multiple components of self-determination, including choice-making, decision-making, problem-solving, self-awareness, self-regulation, goal-setting and planning, and self-efficacy. The scale comes in the form of student self-report only. This is a free assessment available on the Zaro Center for Learning Enrichment website through the University of Oklahoma. The website is linked on the slide. The self-determination assessment battery can be used with secondary students with mild to moderate disabilities. This assessment measures the following self-determination components: decision-making, problem-solving, self-awareness, self-advocacy, goal-setting and planning, learning from mistakes, and risk-taking. Multiple data collection options are available, including student, parent, and teacher interviews, student self-report, and behavioral observations. This is also a free assessment available on the Zaro Center for Learning Enrichment website through the University of Oklahoma. The website is linked on the slide. The ChoiceMaker self-determination assessment can be used with middle and secondary students with mild to moderate disabilities. This assessment measures the following self-determination components: choice-making, decision-making, problem-solving, self-awareness, self-advocacy, and goal setting and planning. The data collection option available is a rating scale for teachers. The assessment is available through the Zaro Center and is free. The website is linked on the slide. The AIR self-determination scale can be used with all school-age students with and without disabilities. This assessment measures the following self-determination components: choice making, self-regulation, self-awareness, self-advocacy, and goal setting and planning. Multiple data collection options are available, including rating skills for teachers, parents, and students. This is also a free assessment available on the Zaro Center for Learning Enrichment website at the University of Oklahoma. The website is linked on the slide. As service providers are conducting transition assessments regularly, consider these self-determination skills when assessing student performance in self-determination, as well as education, employment, and independent living. There are several approaches teachers can take when trying to promote self-determination in students. Some of these are using student-driven IEP and transition planning, directly teaching skills or enhancing knowledge, embedding instruction to the general curriculum, and using person-centered planning. Each of those approaches are described in more detail in the next several slides. There are several components of self-determination that can be directly taught, such as self-management strategies, including self-monitoring, self-recording, and self-graphing, as well as choice-making and problem-solving. Some examples of directly teaching these skills can be as simple as having a problem of the day as a writing warm-up, or explicitly teaching what goals are and how to set them. Next, we will discuss options to support practitioners in directly teaching self-determination skills. The ChoiceMaker curriculum package and the self-determined learning model of instruction are two options that exist to teach these skills. ChoiceMaker is an evidence-based curriculum for students with mild to moderate disabilities. ChoiceMaker lessons provide the methodology and materials to teach the goals and objectives of the ChoiceMaker self-determination curriculum. The modules include choosing education, employment, personal, daily living, housing, and community goals, the self-directed IEP, and take action. The lessons are designed to be infused into existing school coursework and programs. Because the choosing goals and taking action modules can be used as a variety of content, they can be used in either general education or special education classrooms. The self-directed IEP module is designed for use with students receiving special education services. ChoiceMaker includes 3 content strands, including choosing goals, expressing goals, and taking action, and addresses 4 transition areas, including education and training, employment, independent living, and recreation and leisure. This table includes the strands, goals, and modules that are included in the ChoiceMaker curriculum. You can see that leading an IEP meeting is only part of the ChoiceMaker curriculum. This specific part of the curriculum will be discussed later. As mentioned earlier, the sections can be used as standalone units or all together. The self-determined learning model of instruction, or SDLMI, is another method for teaching self-determination skills. It consists of 3 phases and is used for setting academic, transition, and behavior goals. The 3 phases are set a goal, take action, and adjust goal or plan. The SDLMI is an effective research-based way to embed or explicitly teach self-determination skills through goal setting. The model is free and adaptable, found at the link provided. The SDLMI systematically teaches goal setting, problem solving, decision making, self-regulation, self-management skills through 3 instructional phrases as previously mentioned. Now that we have discussed the options for directly teaching self-determination skills, we will cover how to embed self-determination instruction in the general curriculum. Embedding instruction to the general curriculum is also an approach for promoting self-determination in students. Several instructional strategies already have a research base, such as Go For It Now, the Self-Regulated Strategy Development, and the SDLMI. Each of these strategies will be discussed in the next few slides. The Go For It Now strategy is another way to embed self-determination instruction into the general curriculum. Conrad, Clark, and Test conducted a study using the Go For It Now strategy with 5 high school students with low incidence disabilities in 2017. The participants showed improvement in their abilities to write IEP goal paragraphs and expository paragraphs. The self-determination components addressed in this study were goal setting, self-awareness, and self-regulation. Additionally, the ELA skills addressed were writing for a variety of purposes and paragraph writing. Go For It Now uses a mnemonic device displayed in the blue box to help students write 6-sentence goal paragraphs. The mnemonic can be applied to other types of paragraph writing as well. Using self-regulated strategy development, or the SRSD, to teach writing is a research-based practice to help students write well-developed essays across various genres. The SRSD is a 6-stage instructional process in which the teacher develops background knowledge, discusses the strategy, models the strategy, facilitates student memorization of the strategy, works collaboratively with students to support them through the strategy, and finally, students independently practice the strategy. In combination with the SRSD, several mnemonics such as Powtree have been used to enhance student writing skills. Here's an example. Here's an additional example. Next, we will discuss the student-driven IEP and transition planning. Generally, teachers are taking the first step in inviting students to IEP meetings, but typically the student is a passive participant and is not integral in the development of the plan. Teachers need to take it further and develop a plan with the student ahead of time and facilitate them leading the meeting. Example of this could look like a student starting the meeting or reading through the document, discussing progress, asking for feedback, and reviewing new goals. Students of all ability levels can participate with the right amount of pre-meeting instruction and meeting facilitation from the teacher. A few examples of research-based curricula to directly teach self-determination skills will be presented. Please remember, NTAC-C does not endorse any of these products. There are more curricula available. ChoiceMaker and the SDLMI target instruction self-determination skills, while ME, the self-directed IEP, self-advocacy strategy, take charge, and whose future is it anyway, provide instruction and self-determination related to student involvement in the IEP. ME is a free curriculum developed at the University of Oklahoma designed to teach students ages 14 to 21 about disability awareness and self-advocacy skills they will need in disclosing their disability and requesting accommodations. Here's a breakdown of the content by unit. There are 5 units. Here's a breakdown of the content within each unit using Unit 1 as an example. There's the unit purpose, and there are 2 lessons included. Using Lesson 1 as an example, we can look at some objectives and materials. The objectives include define self-awareness and self-advocacy, identify examples of self-awareness and self-advocacy, identify personal strengths, weaknesses, likes, and dislikes, use retelling skills to participate in oral presentation, and complete the ME scale. Materials that you would need would be understanding the self-awareness and self-advocacy worksheet, the student ME scale, and the parent/guardian U scale. This is an example of a pretest that students would take prior to unit instruction. This is an example of a pretest that parents or guardians would take prior to unit instruction. This is an example of a post-test students would take to determine proficiency of unit instruction. The self-directed IEP is also free from the Zaro Center at the University of Oklahoma. Links to the description, teacher manual, and student workbook for the PowerPoint presentation can be found here. Through 11 steps, students learn to participate and take an active role in their IEP planning meeting. These steps include: begin meeting by stating the purpose, introduce everyone, review past goals and performance, ask for others' feedback, state your school and transition goals, ask questions if you do not understand, deal with differences in opinion, state the support you'll need, summarize your goals, close meetings by thanking everyone, and work on IEP goals all year. Despite wide acceptance of the importance of self-determination, research has consistently found that explicit instruction to promote self-determination during the school years is limited, though more recent studies suggest that that situation may be changing. Goals addressing self-determination are not included in many students' IEPs. When efforts to promote self-determination are in place, there are few efforts to systematically assess the effect of those interventions. The self-advocacy strategy is a motivation and self-determination strategy designed to prepare students to participate in education for transition planning conferences. The strategy consists of 5 steps, which are taught over a series of 7 acquisition and generalization stages. The 5 steps are presented using the acronym I-PLAN to help cue students to remember the steps for the strategy. Here's a breakdown of the content within each section. Feel free to visit the Zaro Center website link above for more information. Most importantly, there are free resources. Here are some examples of chapter content from Whose Future Is It Anyway? Person-centered planning is a 4th strategy for promoting self-determination students. It is a facilitated process designed to plan and develop supports to meet the specific desires of the focal person. First, a group or circle of individuals is identified by the student and family who have an interest in funding or providing supports for the student. Second, the group meets at a place convenient for all members. Oftentimes, it'll be a home or a restaurant to develop a plan. There's also the McGill Action Planning System known as MAPS that asks 8 major questions. What is the individual's history? What is your dream for the future? What is your nightmare? Who is the individual? What are the individual's strengths, gifts, and abilities? What are the individual's needs? What does the individual's ideal day at school look like? And what must be done to make it happen? Another version of person-centered planning is PATHS, Planning Alternative Tomorrows with Hope. It's a creative planning tool that consists of 6 steps: creating a clear picture or vision of where you want to be, identify your goals, focus for the next year, ground yourself in the now, identify people to enroll on the journey, recognize ways to build strength, and chart action steps needed to achieve your goals. Pathfinders are a group of stakeholders such as family members, teachers, service providers, and friends who agree to meet on a regular basis to form a circle of support that will help a person with a disability accomplish certain personal visions or goals by overcoming obstacles and opening doors to new opportunities. When employing personal future planning, all the significant people influencing an individual's life sit down in the same room and discuss the following 6 questions. What are the individual's preferences and strengths? What does the individual want? What choices does he or she make? What things do we know work well from that person's perspective? What obstacles stand in the way of reaching an ideal outcome? And what solutions are there for overcoming outcomes? With this process, rather than describing the existing service options and decide where the person might best fit, a team is able to creatively overcome barriers and plan for ideal transition outcomes. The Whole Life Planning Manual assists young adults in making the transition from school to adult life through the following steps: organizing the planning process, choosing which planning process, and when and where it will take place, and the role of the facilitator. Developing a personal profile, including the places, people, and activities in a person's life. Building a vision, which involves highlighting major recurring themes from the personal profile that point the way to a desirable future for an individual, and developing vision statements. Developing action plans, which involve specific and immediate actions to implement goals, and supporting networks and plans, which includes involving who will participate in the follow-up meeting to evaluate progress. There are more ways to work self-determination to your everyday classroom activities. Some examples of that include students setting daily or class period goals that tie to the objective being taught. Students can use a timer, and when it goes off, they can track if they were on task. Don't rush in to help your students. Teach them to ask for help when they need it. And build in opportunities throughout the day for choice making. Let them choose which assignments to work on first, or what color pen to use, or even who to sit with and where to start their work. There are also creative ways that students can be involved or lead meetings. Some can be by creating invitations or presenting work samples that they have. They can conduct introductions, develop and facilitate the agenda, possibly use a PowerPoint to do that. They can ask prepared questions and use other e-tools. After the meeting, the student and the teacher should debrief, and the teacher can also encourage the student to send thank you notes or emails. You're going to click on the picture to see a short clip of a student leading or participating in his IEP. Just for reference, the meeting scene starts 8 minutes and 25 seconds